All right, and we have a phone call, and it is none other than our special guest, the man. He was the 1996 NCAA champion with the Kentucky Wildcats, former NBA player, Tony Delk. Welcome to Over the Top Sports.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Thank you for giving us the time. So let's get right to it. Long time ago, you were a college player. What made you pick the University of Kentucky?
You know what? To be honest with you, I have to give one person a lot of credit. You know, of course, Coach Pitino was the guy that coached me and got me ready for that next level. But Billy Donovan was a master recruiter. He came to my little small town of Brownsville, Tennessee, and started recruiting me as a sophomore, and took a lot of interest in me, got to know my family really well. And it was a guy I trusted. You know, I think once you get in with the moms, I always tell guys, you know, as you're recruiting these kids, you got to get close to the mom. You got to find out what the mom likes, what she wants, what's going to make her happy. And Billy found out what made my parents happy, and so he was able to go with that, but also just the opportunity to go and play for Coach Pitino, who had just left the NBA a few years ago. You know, a great X and O guy, a great motivator, and a guy to prepare many guys as well as coaches for the next level.
And you have to say you made the right choice. You had quite a career there with the national title game. Was there any specific reason behind your number, 00?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I came out with the book about a month ago. It's called Shooter, the Story Behind the 00. You can purchase that book at tldelkenterprises.com. But my older brother wore that number. He was about 15, I think like 17 years older than I was. And I remember being a sophomore in high school, and at that time he lived in Atlanta where I live now. And I went down and played him, and I finally was able to beat him. I said, you know what? After I beat him, I decided I was like, you know, I want to take that number and keep the number going. And just really was something that, you know, as he was one of the first guys to go, first family member to go to college, get his degree. And I just thought it was something special for our family that we can carry that number on. And his kids ended up having the number. My daughters had the number. So it's a special number in the Delk family.
Yeah, it's cool to see on the court, too. So you made mention to him before. What was it like playing for Coach Pitino?
You know, I did a basketball clinic today, and I was talking to a number of kids, and I was just telling them how much hard work that is required. And, you know, when I first got to, people don't remember this, I didn't play a lot my freshman season. Coming in with all the accolades was something that really didn't matter to Coach Pitino. It was about earning your spot, earning your playing time. And about the fifth game of that year, I thought about transferring because I remember calling around to a couple of different schools. My brothers did the same, and I went in and talked to Coach, and I told him, I said, you know, once the season ends, I want to transfer to another school. But long story short, you know, I had to grow up, had to mature. Every summer I stayed and got better, got closer to get my degree. You know, and I think it was a work ethic. I think it was the hours of spending time on my craft and doing it the right way. So many kids spend a lot of hours working on their game, but they're not working on the right thing. And I think Coach Pitino, just seeing how good I was, you know, shooting the ball, he taught me how to play without the ball and how to use screen, which added another dimension to my game.
And sadly, we can't bring up Pitino. He left the sport not the way he wanted to go out. The NCAA came down on him and stripped his Louisville national championship. What were your thoughts on the whole escort sex scandal, and should that have been pinned on Rick Pitino?
Well, you know, I think a lot was going on, and Coach, when I go back to how he was in the 90s, you know, how he watched us extremely well. He had a lot of coaches that paid attention to what we were doing, and I think there was such a turnaround with coaches. You know, when you have guys like a Billy Donovan, Herb Sendek, Jim O'Brien, and Kevin Willard, those are older guys that, you know, they're solid, they're trustworthy, and they're guys that have Coach Pitino back. I think if you start hiring guys that everyone that have his best interests at heart, and when things happen on your clock, you are the one that's held accountable. So when all this took place, some of it, I don't think I know coaches know about a lot of it because, you know, even as a college coach, I mean, there were things that we did at University of Kentucky that coach never knew about. You can't watch a kid 24/7 just hoping that when you recruit the kid, he comes from a good background and he makes the right decision. And I just think he hired some guys that was trying to get to the next job by trying to impress him But what ended up happening was all of that fell on coach's plate, and then he was the one that got punished. He got punished out of all of this, and having a couple opportunities where he made a couple of mistakes, now you have to pay for those mistakes, and that's what happened. And talking to him, I mean, he really, really and truly missed the game, and to have his title vacated, I think that hurt him more than anything.
And again, we're speaking with Tony Delk, who has a book out, Shooter. The O's are double zeros, of course. The story behind the double zeros. Tony, in your opinion, should college athletes get paid?
I think they should, but I think Title IX prevents that because it has to be equal across the board. And football and basketball is going to bring in most of your revenue. Baseball is going to bring in some revenue, and you have to share in that money. And I think with all these mega TV deals and apparel, and you think about concession stands, there's so much money universities are bringing in. And I'm not saying you have to pay these guys thousands of dollars, but there should be some compensation going out to pay these guys for the jersey sales, the TV deals. And I just think it's rightfully so that, these kids, they give so much. And although, you get a free scholarship, but you've earned that scholarship. Just like when the money comes in, I mean, none of the players ever touch that money. So that's the reason why you see a lot of these guys that come in, and even with their parents, why do I want to go to a program where I'm going to see them make millions of dollars off of my son, and we don't reap any of the benefits? And those players are wisening up, and I think the parents are understanding that the NCAA, they're making so much money, but no one knows where all of this money is going to, from athletics.
And then you have recruits that have been getting paid. We even heard about DeAndre Ayton. We've heard about Dennis Smith Jr. We heard about the Fab Five. We know about a lot of these things. The FBI is coming down and proving that these coaches are literally, persuading these guys and recruiting them with means of money and not just come to our university. How many athletes do you know personally that have gone through that, have been offered that, maybe even yourself included? How long has this been going on for, and do you think it's going to come to an end considering what went down last year?
Hey, I would never tell them myself, but and talking and just seeing how the sport is, if you go to a family that's in the project, have been dealing with poverty for many, many years, and you give them money, I mean, it's hard to turn down that money. And I always said it, I was just in a great position with my parents, but I had older siblings, so when I needed something, I kind of relied on those guys, my sister and my brothers, to help me out. So I really didn't have anyone approach me and say, hey, you take this amount of money, you can go here. I was never persuaded like that. I think just having good parents, and I think I was scared. I thought I was going to get in trouble, and going back to Kentucky, Coach Pitino put the fear of God in us. If you get caught, if you're not dealing with my friends, that you're going to lose your scholarship. And I think that's where, as the generation changed, he kind of changed how he was the fearful coach that we played for. He became a coach that's allowing guys probably to be a little bit more loose than they have been. He really had us under, like curfew. There were certain things where, we respected everything he said. We wasn't going out and doing things we should have been doing. No, though, you can't watch 15 guys, 24/7. So in saying that, I mean, the opportunity, there's always going to be opportunities to get money from a talented player like, a guy that's coming like a DeAndre Ayton. But the player got to be smart. If you haven't had money in 18 years, if you're that good, why not wait just another year? You have that money sooner than later.
And it was a lot different time then with social media now. So much harder to get away with anything than when you were playing.
Yes, it was. Social media has definitely affected what we do and how we do it, and just knowing that so many people are watching you definitely got to be careful. But I would just tell guys, if you're that good, just wait another year or two, get the money. You don't owe anybody anything. You've earned it. And if you're good enough, you're going to make even more money when you make it to the pros.
And we're speaking with Tony Delk. The Tony Delk IMAC Regeneration Center opened this week, Tony. Just tell us a little about that. It treats arthritis, acute sports injuries. It's been in the works for a little bit here. Give us a few minutes and just tell us about the Regeneration Center that you opened.
Well, the thing about it, I'm so excited about, platelet-rich plasma, the stem cells, the physical therapy, and just chiropractic where it helps you with your ailing injuries, and it really was brought to the different facilities around the country. You know, I think there's 3: David Price, there's Ozzie Smith, and then the Tony Delk IMAC Regeneration Center. But really, it's kind of like to rejuvenate your body with your own stem cells instead of, you know, dealing with surgery or being addicted to prescription pain medication. I might be a patient myself. My Achilles have been bothering me, so I'm trying to figure out a way so I don't rupture or tear that thing. And I think I'm going to try to go myself maybe next week and get an injection myself to see how it works, see how it's going to help my body, and, you know, just be able to understand how it fully works. But I'm excited about it. We're going to definitely try to better the quality of life of people in Lexington. So those who are listening, if there's a rejuvenation center around you, IMAC Regeneration Center, definitely something to go visit. Aches and pains is definitely the new wave of technology right now in medicine. So I'm excited about all the people that came in and saw us just a few days ago. And we're going to keep pushing it, keep trying to get people to come in and try it, and we're going to educate them more on it.
You've done a little coaching. 2009, you served with John Calipari at Kentucky, obviously, and then 2011, the New Mexico State Aggies. Obviously, you stopped that to be closer to your family, but is coaching something that you'd like to get back into? Is that something you see yourself doing long term?
It's funny because I had a clinic today, and I had about 18 to 20 kids, and I had a 3-hour clinic teaching the basic fundamentals of basketball. Had about 4 or 5 girls, and the rest were guys. And I really get that buzz. I get so excited about getting out there teaching them what I was taught as a player, how the game is transforming right now. And when I say all that, I'm like, gosh, it takes a lot of time, just to do this every day. And just 3 hours is not even a full day. That's like 1/4 of the day. Because even as a coach, I would arrive maybe 7 in the morning, get a workout in, and I might be there from 7 in the morning to 8 or 9. And it really takes away from, for me, it was just I really was missing my kids. I enjoy teaching the game of basketball. I love it. I have all this wealth of knowledge, and I want to share and give it to players. So it's one of those things that will have to be the right situation where it's definitely warm. I don't want to go anywhere where it's cold, and not too far away from Atlanta.
All right, the NBA, you were quite the journeyman. 96 to 2008, you played for 8 teams. I'm curious, how was your living situation? Was it hard not being able to ever settle down?
It's one of those questions that's asked many, many times with all the different teams. I said, the good thing about it, a lot of these equipment managers are still there, so I can call them and give me some gear. That's the one benefit. But as far as like traveling, it became a hassle probably after about the 5th time. I'm like, gosh, and it wasn't that, I was a bad teammate. It was more I had an easy contract to move. Everywhere I went and played, I thought I played well enough to stay there for at least a number of years. I worked really well in the system. Based on what I did in Kentucky, I know how to play in the system with other good, talented players. But it was just that, every time I thought it was going to be a home, I'm like, even when I signed my 6-year deal with Phoenix, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be here for a few years. I get traded a year and a half into that deal to Boston, and it was from Boston to Dallas, Dallas to Atlanta, Detroit. I was like, oh, my God. So it was during my NBA career. I didn't have the stability that I once had at Kentucky, and I still love the game, but I just really did not like moving. I wish I could have just set up shop and stayed with the team for a number of years. So if I were to do it again, I would sign a contract with a no trade clause in it.
Yeah, plenty of trades. Let's talk about your big night. You put up 53 points against your former team, the Sacramento Kings. What got into you, man? Did you have a chip on your shoulder?
It really wasn't a chip on my shoulder. I think when I left Sacramento, I really wanted to stay in Sacramento. I enjoyed playing with Pager, C. Webb, Lottie, John Barry, Jay Will. I mean, we had a really fun, exciting team, and at that time, it was like my coming out party. I had such a great playoff against the Lakers. In the second half of that season, I started to get more playing time. I was in the rotation, perfect situation. And then Phoenix came with a deal I couldn't turn down. Because at that time, like I said, I was in between Charlotte, Golden State, Sacramento. And this gave me the stability financially that I needed. And I had to take the 6-year deal. But just going back to that game against Sacramento, it was one of those nights. I mean, Jason Kidd was, him and Steve Nash were definitely 2 best point guards I played with. But Jason made the game so easy. You know, it's about just running, getting open. He's gonna make the right play. He's a pass first point guard. And that night, like I said, I was in a rhythm. I was feeling it. You know, it wasn't like they was going to me every possession down the court. I made my shots just during the course of the game, and before I knew it, I looked up at the scoreboard. I was like, I got 40 points, you know. And at that point, I never had a 30-point game, and not even close to a 40-point game. So it was one of those special nights that, you know, I look back and I said, wow, you know, it's one of the nights that's definitely ranked high in my accolades.
And I think no threes in that game, right?
No threes. I only attempted one, you know, so three-point is funny, too, because I love to shoot threes now as I get out there and play pickup ball, but during that time, I was a mid-range, get to the basket. If the three was there, I would take it. But I would be great in this era. Many shots and threes as they get up. I wish my mom had me in 94 instead of 1974.
Yeah, you probably have a place in the Warriors if that's all you got to do is shoot that three and you got a spot there.
Shoot that
do you think the NBA should do away with the conferences and just take the top 16 teams in the NBA? We've heard Adam Silver have some consideration about this. What's your thoughts on that?
I kind of like that, but I just think it's going to be a lot of traveling. You know, I think it's, you know, and maybe 1 year I think they should tamper with it. They should try 1 year just to see how it works. Take the top 16 teams and kind of go and just see what happens. I mean, I don't think it would hurt anything. I think it brings more excitement to the game and to the playoffs. Is that, you know, you might start with let's say Golden State maybe playing maybe like a Boston, you know, in the semis, you know, earlier than expected. And I just like the matchup of having the 16 best teams. And you're right, they should compete kind of like the NCAA tournament. But I know I don't think it's the money. So you're going to make money regardless with these mega teams. Back to your question, yeah, I would love to see Adam Silver just, you know, put a twist in the game. I mean, just bring some more excitement to the NBA. I think it's a game that's like I said, done well globally. And he's come in. He's a different kind of commissioner. You know, I think he listens to what the players have to say. And as you know, it's a players' league. So I think if the players like it, you know, even with him giving them more rest during the course of the season, not having so many back-to-back games, a longer All-Star break, he's really trying, and he has done a good job of listening to the guys that play on the court. And that's your product. You know, that's your entertainment. And if they're happy, they're going to be able to produce the way that they have been doing the last couple of years.
Yeah, a big name against that idea is actually LeBron James, and we know how much weight his words hold in that league.
And speaking of LeBron
go ahead.
No, go ahead, please, Tony.
Well, no, I think LeBron is probably the only player I know in professional sports no one has the power and the leverage that he's had, and he's just been a spokesmodel for a guy that's, you know, made so much money, but he's been a outspoken person when civil issues have happened, and you know, he's outspoken, which, you know, a lot of guys are scared to tamper with that. It might hurt their brand. They might lose endorsement deal, but, you know, he's definitely stood up for some great causes, and LeBron. You know, I like him off the court just as well as I like him on the court. A phenomenal player, and, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes next.
And speaking of LeBron, we have to ask you, LeBron or Jordan, which one?
You know what? If I'm playing, I would rather play with LeBron. It means I'm going to get a lot of shots. You know, he's definitely going to try to get everyone involved. And not anything against Mike. Mike was that guy that, you know, he wanted the ball in his hand to win the game. But two different kind of players at the end of the day. I look at the comparison, and I thought the comparison should have been maybe Kobe and LeBron. I mean, I think you leave Michael out of the equation. Michael done something that hasn't been done in our era. You know, just think about winning all those championships. Is that, you know, getting to the finals, winning six finals MVP. That he separated himself from those guys already. And, yeah, he had some first-round losses, but you look at the teams he lost. He lost the team that had won championships. And I think how LeBron approaches the game, I know he dominates the ball a lot more than Michael did. You know, LeBron is a ball-dominant guy. He controls the narrative. So, like I said earlier, I don't think anyone has ever had as much leverage as LeBron to be able to control who he wants on his team, where he wants to go. And to me, it brings a different kind of excitement to the game where, I wish I could have had that kind of power and leverage, when I became a free agent to really pick that team. And then you have the whole league. You basically have the whole league at a stranglehold. You really have it holding everybody hostage. Every other team is kind of waiting for the big domino to fall before they give other free agents opportunities to sign deals. So it lets you know the kind of power that he has in the NBA, and he's done a phenomenal job of being the face of the NBA and also being an ambassador of the NBA.
All right, where do you think LeBron's going to end up next year, and where do you think he should go next year?
It's funny that we talk about, he's the only guy that we want to see win championships. I mean, there's 29 other teams outside of Golden State that would love to be in the position to win championships, but we're so focused on, we need to, LeBron needs to, it's worried about his legacy, but there's so many other good players that play this game, so many other good organizations that would love to be in position. And I think when I look at LeBron he might not win another championship. We don't know. But I'm not going to change my team and how I operate as a GM to try to get LeBron, because at the end of the day, there's going to be 29 other teams that's not going to have LeBron, but you still have to compete at the highest level. The Lakers sound, I think that's where, he might go, having two homes out there. It makes sense. He might be able to persuade Paul George to come over. I don't think Kawhi is going to go there. I think if I know Popovich and those guys, they're not going to do anything with the West. I think they're going to send them east. Mm-hmm. And if I'm Pop, I would do the same thing. I'm not going to help the Lakers win a championship. That's something that I know San Antonio Spurs would never do. So he's going somewhere on the East Coast if he leaves San Antonio. But LeBron probably, I think, I like Houston, but he doesn't like the city. I think he gives them, I think he would have to dominate the ball. I would love to see James Harden play, maybe have a post game, come off screens, but I don't see that happening because they would have to unload so many players. So LeBron controls so many different narratives here that it's going to be hard, other than the Lakers, for any other team to get him. So.
And before we let you go, one more. Who, in today's NBA, who is your favorite player to watch? If there was a game on and that player was playing, you have to catch that game.
If I was paying my money to watch a player, I'm going to go with my Kentucky guy, AD. I mean, AD is something special when he's on the court. When he's healthy, he can knock down shots from the outside. He can post. He's athletic. He defends. He can put the ball on the floor. I like watching a long, athletic AD. I mean, he's a special player. And, there's a number of guys I can put up there that I enjoy watching, from LeBron to Dame Lillard. I like watching Steph, KD. I like watching Golden State because the ball moves. The ball just doesn't get sucked. You're seeing guys cut and move without the ball. And as I was teaching my clinic today, I was trying to tell them, I said, the easiest person to guard, me at 44, I can guard someone that doesn't move. But when you're moving, that's what makes a team like Golden State lethal. And you put Draymond down there, who's a willing passer, guys cutting, moving out the ball. I like watching those kind of players. So probably I like Klay. Klay makes the game easy just by catching and shooting and just knowing what he does well.
And Tony, thank you so much for joining us. You gave us an extra few minutes there. We truly appreciate it. We appreciate you calling back. The book, Shooter, the story behind the double zeros. Goon, our producer, is going to put a link on Twitter where you can purchase that. Tony, thank you so much, and hopefully we can catch up with you some point next season.
Okay, appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank you. And that's Tony Delk joining us. Gave us quite a bit of time here. Nice guy, Vinny, and a lot of good points, man. I agree with him. With Adam Silver has been fantastic for this league. He has. I thought David Stern was always one of the better commissioners, and he's actually outshined them big time. And he said a couple interesting things.